Hello, 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 everyone. Hope you guys are all doing well. Um, you guys see that I have a guest joining me tonight. I am here with my goddaughter, Manze Grann. For those of you who are watching my channel for the first time, I'm Mambo. Hello. I am the Coven Mother of Vision of Dawn Tour, founder and facilitator of the Charm School Mentorship Program. And it may not be appropriate tonight, but I'm gonna use my intro that I use on my Sunday lives. I'm a dope bitch straight up out of Oakland.
Period.
and, and I'm here with my lovely granddaughter, Manze Grann. I'm gonna let her introduce herself, and then I'll talk a little bit about why we're here tonight.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Manze Grann, and I am the goddaughter of Mambo. Just a little bit about myself. I am in Indiana, so I'm not from Oakland. I'm from the cornfields here in Indiana. By day, I have been an addictions therapist for over 18 years. I've been on my spiritual journey for about 5 years, and I have been a student and a practitioner with Mambo for over 2 years now.
So I am really excited tonight. As a godparent, as a healer, you want to heal people, you want to help them. It's a very beautiful exchange. And as a godparent, when you get to the point where you see your godchildren trusting their insights and the wisdom that they've gained, and that turning into healing and support that they can give to the community, it's a really, really beautiful. It's a dope thing to witness. So I'm really happy tonight for Manze Grann to be here with us and sharing the Healing Hearts program with us. Forgiveness is tough. I am a Taurus, so I know that it's probably on my spiritual journey. It's one of the things that I have struggled with the most. So when she mentioned that she'd come up with this curriculum and she showed it to me, I was like, okay, we gotta give this to people. We gotta share this with the community because life happens. We go through experiences. We develop traumas. We have no control over that. All we can control is how we heal and who we get to be after our experiences, right? So I'm gonna turn things over to Manze Grann. We're gonna go through a little bit of a conversation about how she came up with the program, what the program is, how it benefits, et cetera, et cetera. And then once she's done with that, we will take questions from all of you. Now, this is something that starts next week, and it's a 30-day journey. So don't think that, it's something that you only do one day and then you're out there to struggle on your own. No, you will have our support through the entire 30 days, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Manze Grann. And whenever you're ready, just let me know.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, all right.
All right, so we are going to jump in and talk about the Healing Hearts. Like Mambo Soleil said, it is a 30-day forgiveness journey. I truly believe that forgiveness is a lifestyle. It is not a one-time occurrence. So it is something that is ongoing, especially on our spiritual journeys, because things will come up for us at different times. And I know for me, the spirit behind this was truly going through a difficult transition. I experienced a lot of transition, huge transitions within the last year. And Spirit gave me this revelation and wanted me not only to continue to heal myself, but to share this with community. And I feel that that is very important as a priestess to be able to share, and as a therapist to be able to give what was given to me. So I am excited to share this with you. And you can go to the next slide, Mambo. All right. So, what is the healing and forgiveness journey? It is a guided 30-day journey. So, I will be the facilitator for this journey. And especially when we think about the heaviness of forgiveness, it will be guided through these next 30 days, combining spiritual practices, journaling, affirmations, and ancestral work. My ancestors gave me this program to present to you to continue to heal not only my bloodline, but your bloodline, yourselves, and our community. And so we will definitely be working with our ancestors doing this healing and forgiveness journey. It is designed for those who are seeking inner peace, emotional restoration, release, and clarity, and spiritual empowerment, because there is a lot of empowerment when we think about forgiveness. It is rooted in self-love, compassion, and community healing. And so when we think about how this journey supports you, it supports you through emotional clarity and release, strength and connection to your ancestors and your spiritual guides. It will give you greater inner peace and compassion and tools to continue a forgiveness lifestyle. You may or may not have seen on Facebook or social media, but this journey will take place from May 15th until June 14th. So again, it is a 30-day journey. And so we'll kind of go into and talk about it a little bit more, what this entails. Next slide, please. So when we think about why forgiveness, and I apologize because it's showing up different in different colors, so you probably can't see it. But why forgiveness? Forgiveness is an act of a spiritual act of liberation. Because when we don't forgive those people, those things, our past, our trauma, those things, they control and have power over us. And so being able to forgive is a spiritual act of liberation, not only again for ourselves, but for our bloodlines and for our community. The cost of holding on to pain, it has mental, physical, and spiritual consequences when we continue to hold on to pain and we are unwilling or incapable of forgiveness. And then forgiveness does not mean that we are forgetting or that we are condoning the things that have happened to us. So when we think about this forgiveness journey, who is this journey for? This journey is for you. So anyone who is carrying grief, resentment, or trauma, spiritual practitioners who are looking for structured healing, because sometimes people say like, oh, forgiveness, just forgive. It is not as simple as saying to forgive. It is a process. And so I wanted to provide structured healing for your forgiveness and healing journey. People who are seeking self-love, because for me in this journey, me being able to forgive and being able to let go has allowed me to love myself, because we will also talk about self-forgiveness, because we all have things that we need to forgive ourselves for. And so it has allowed me to release some of that shame and guilt that I have been carrying for years, so that I am able to love myself better and I can show up better in the world, not only for myself, but for my family, my friends, and the community. And again, it also empowers us towards liberation. Next slide. So looking at the journey structure overview, I wanted to show you what this looks like. So the 4 weeks, we have 4 weeks of theme content. So week 1 focuses on the foundations of forgiveness. Week 2 focuses on deepening the practice. Week 3 focuses on integration and letting go. And then week 4 focuses on empowering the new self. Daily components of this, and I will give you an example what this looks like here in a second. It will be comprised of a focus. So every day we will have a focus relating to healing and forgiveness and what we will focus on for that day. There will be a spiritual practice that may include a candle ritual, a spiritual bath. It would include meditation, ancestral work, prayer, things of that nature. Every day there will be a journal prompt that is centered around some area specifically to forgiveness that is tied to our focus for the day. And then we will always end it with an affirmation centered around forgiveness and healing. So again, there will be daily journaling and prompts. You will definitely utilize your ancestors and spending a lot of time at your ancestor altar, the use of herbs, candles, spiritual tools, things of that nature. And then we will have weekly reflections. Next slide. So a sample week. So again, I apologize because this is showing up differently on StreamYard, and that's totally okay. So let's talk about a sample week. So I utilized the first week, which is the foundations of forgiveness. So for instance, day one, we will do intention setting. It is always important before we jump into any type of spiritual work that we have to set the foundation and we have to set the intentions. So that will be centered around what is it that you want to forgive? What is it that you want to let go? And what are your hopes? What do you hope to get out of this 30-day journey? Day two, an example, is exploring the emotional toll of unforgiveness. So, what happens when we don't forgive? How does that affect us emotionally and mentally? Day four, for example, is self forgiveness. It's a mirror exercise where we will spend a lot of time looking at our beautiful selves and working on self forgiveness. Day five, an example of that would be forgiving others through unsent letters. So, we will be spending a lot of time writing letters to people that maybe we don't intend to send them, and that's perfectly fine. But there's a lot of healing and therapeutic value in us being able to do so. Next slide. And so spiritual tools, thinking about this 30-day journey and what this will look like, things that you will need if you decide to join us on this journey is a 7-day blue candle. Blue, and when we think about a blue candle, is really centered around healing and forgiveness. There will be certain herbs that Spirit gave me that I have been very intentional and prayed about that are relating to forgiveness and healing. Your ancestor altar, again, will be very, very important to this process. There's a tea that you will make with these herbs that I will give you and provide a list of. During this, we will also do a spiritual bath. And then, of course, again, there is journaling and writing tools. With this, an optional book that you can study along with that really prompted me and gave me this idea along with Spirit to do this journey is called Forgiving What You Can't Forget by Lisa TerKeurst. This book, she is a Christian author, and it has truly been transformational in the way that I think about forgiveness and letting go and forgiving others. We will also incorporate group sharing circles because we will be dealing with some very heavy things as it relates to forgiveness. So we will have group sharing circles if people decide to participate. And then I would like to offer one-on-one coaching if someone needs to continue this journey. If they are really struggling, I do not want you to feel like you are alone because, again, this is some heavy stuff. And being a licensed therapist now for 18 years and doing the spiritual work that I do, I want to be able to support you along this journey. So again, this is just kind of a brief snippet of what the next 30 days would look like if you decide to join Healing Hearts. And that is all that I have. And so I think now we will take questions or comments if anybody has anything. Oh, you're on mute, Mambo.
Thank you so much, Grann. Thank you for that. I'm excited about the program. In addition to supporting Manze Grann as her assistant through this program, I'm also going to be participating in it. So I'm both excited and a little nervous to see exactly how Spirit is going to break me open through this, but I'm looking forward to it, right? Because one of the things that, and I wrote it in the chat because it really resonated with me. One of the things she said that I think is so beautiful is that forgiveness is an act of spiritual liberation. I've never heard it stated that way, but it makes complete sense, right? Anything that frees you and allows you to be vulnerable and open and submit to Spirit is liberatory, right? Mm-hmm. So again, as somebody who struggles with forgiveness, it is not my favorite thing. I'm definitely going to write that phrase down in my grimoire, and it's going to be something that I reflect over, both during the 30 days and after, if I'm, when I'm holding myself accountable. But thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. And I'm really excited. I try to be really intentional too, Mambo, when we think about forgiveness, not just in forgiving others, but self-forgiveness, but also we are going to do community work and talk about forgiveness from that aspect as well as ancestral, because I have been very intentional to heal my bloodline and things that my ancestors have experienced that has been passed down to me. And I think that all of this is so important when we think about forgiveness, because it is so multi-layered. And there are a lot of things to think about. And so Tika just said, I struggle too. This is going to be hard. And in full transparency, I am going to do the 30-day journey myself. So we will all be crying and leaning on each other for support during this process. But I am excited about this, because I know, again, that there is a lot of liberation and a lot of peace and emotional clarity and release that will come from this. But it is a scary process. And I appreciate everyone being honest about that, because that is the only way that we're going to be able to get through this, is to be honest and utilize each other as support to get through this, because it's going to be, it will be tough, but I believe that it will definitely be worth it.
Yeah, I love that you talked about the community aspect, because it is important. The reason why a lot of us have things that we struggle with and we haven't healed from is because we're trying to do it in isolation. We're trying to do it in the dark. Our healing becomes something that we relegate to these secret little corners of our lives, and it's not helpful, right? So not only is doing this in community helpful in that you have support, I think that especially when it relates to self-forgiveness, it's easy to see sometimes our wounds are way too similar to other people's, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that it helps you release shame when you realize, like, I'm not the only person that went through this. I'm not the only person that wasn't able to see certain things. And maybe I should be more kind to myself, because I'm in community with my sister who's gone through this, and I'm being nurturing to her. So why can't I give that nurture to me, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so when we think about like self-love, that is the thing we have to give ourselves, what we give everybody else. We support our sisters, our girlfriends, our god sisters, and we give them, we need to be our own very best friend. And that's a part of this process as well. And we don't know how to heal. We don't know how to forgive. People just tell you, and it's just like, oh, forgive. How do I do that? I don't know how to do that. I know how to hold on to this pain and this resentment and this hurt that I have, because it is a protection for me. But how do I release that, and how do I let that go? And I know for me, the biggest piece that I talked about when I said that forgiveness is not about forgetting and condoning, I really struggled with. I felt like if I forgave them, then it made what they did okay.
Yeah.
And that's not the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another thing that can happen on your healing journey, especially depending on the nature of the trauma or the issue, is that sometimes, how do I say this? Enablers and flying monkeys are difficult things, right? And sometimes you're healing from one situation, and then you start to realize, like, oh, this other person was an enabler. Oh, this other person contributed, right? Yep. And if you don't check yourself, you will just build more resentments, right? So even that process of understanding how to forgive people who did, like, literally, the Bible says, forgive them for they know not what they do. How do you forgive a person who has not acknowledged what they've done, and who may be, even to the present moment, still causing harm, right? There are people who've done things to me and refuse to understand the weight of what they've done, and to this day are enabling more, recruiting more flying monkeys and things. But I have to forgive so that I don't get messed up, and I don't allow it to distract me from the greater work that I do, right? I'm going to put this up here just because it's funny. And this is another reason why we got to exercise forgiveness, because, a lot of us are blessed to have met our goals and we are successful. You're talking to a clinical director, somebody who's been working in psychology, helping people, supporting them through navigating addiction for multiple decades, right? Mm-hmm. Highly credentialed, very educated. You can smile, girl, I'm talking about you. This woman is a bad bitch, right? Like, she is an amazing person, right? And I think that it's important to know that this is a blessing to have somebody who is educated and skilled in this to help. But the majority of us don't have access to this stuff, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
this is another part of the reason why this is really, really helpful. But I'm also talking about her credentials, not just to brag on her because she's my goddaughter and I'm obnoxious and I love bragging on godchildren. I'm bringing it up because we can't have her out here punching people in the mouth. We can't because, you know, what's the phrase? You can ruin I'm gonna mess it up, but I heard it recently. You can ruin a reputation that took decades to build with seconds or minutes of emotion, right?
Very true.
And so that's another reason why forgiveness is necessary. That's another reason why shadow work is necessary. You don't want to undo your own good name and reputation because of somebody else's stubbornness and ridiculousness. So, okay, maybe they're an asshole and they don't know how to take responsibility for their behavior. Okay, maybe they are internally a child and instead of them taking responsibility for their behavior, they're focused on getting flying monkeys. That's them. That's not you.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to protect you? So not only is this helpful in terms of healing so that your load is lighter and you're not carrying excess, this is low-key a form of protection as well. Because think about all the ways that resentment and anger and frustration and shame lower your vibration and make you more susceptible to predatory and narcissistic people, right?
Yep. Yep. And then also too, it takes the focus off of you, because we're spending so much time worried and focused on someone, their actions or lack thereof that we cannot control. And so when we think about the serenity prayer, and it talks about understanding the difference between the things that we can and we can't control, we spend so much time focused on everybody else and what they've done or haven't done that we don't focus on ourselves. And so then that way we're not loving ourselves, we're not protecting ourselves, we're not taking care of ourselves because we're worried about other people. And the crazy thing is they have gone on about their lives, they're still hurting other people. They are not thinking about what they have done to you, but you think about it morning, noon, night. You ruminate over it, it's causing anxiety, depression, and we got to let that shit go.
You're right. They've already moved on to the next victim, the next source of supply, and you're sitting there sick over what they've done. So I'm excited about this. I think it's going to be a beautiful program. I know that several of the ladies who are tuned in tonight have already signed up. So let me just talk a little bit about the logistics right now, because this is run a little differently than how I typically do my programs. So those of you guys who've done rituals and things with me in the past, you guys know I typically have people come into a WhatsApp, give them information, they sign up, and then they get their information from WhatsApp. We cut out the middleman this time because niggas is busy. We busy. We're busy women. And so the link that is scrolling below is a purchase link that is directly on my website, soleilcontrashop.com. So once you make your purchase, which is $35, right? Now, here's the thing. I know some of you guys, this is Manze Grann PA show, so I'm not going to go too far off on my tangent about spiritual stinginess. But I will say this. 2 priestesses, 1 life coach, 1 therapist, supporting and navigating you through your healing journey for 30 days straight. You can't get a counseling session for $35.
No.
Even if you have that good insurance, your therapy sessions are not going to be $35 with your copay. Your copay is going to be more than $35. So understand, the least you can do is pay $35 towards your spiritual healing and development for 30 days of intensive support, okay? Once you make your purchase and your payment, you will either get a text message or an email from me with the information from Discord. If you have not gotten that from me for some reason, I did put my business phone number in the chat and I'll put it in again. Make sure that you text me so that way we can get you into the Discord, because that's where we're going to be doing most of our work together over these 30 days, okay? So again, very straightforward process. If you know you want to do it and you are not spiritually stingy, and if you are struggling with spiritual stinginess, I strongly encourage you to look at some of my free resources about financial trauma recovery so that you don't hold yourself back in that way. And then once you know that you can do it and you pay your $35, you will get follow-up from me. We will put you in the Discord. We'll get you in the appropriate groups, have you all set and ready so that we can hit the ground running on May 15th. I just want to put a call out there one more time for questions before we start wrapping up. Again, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I will be watching the comments on the replay. So if you are watching this at a later time, put the questions in the comments. Or again, my phone number, my business number, it's business number, so don't be playing with me in the middle of the night. My business number is in the comments, so text if you have any questions as well, okay? I want to put this up because this is an important thing to note. Every time I participate in something, that money comes right back to me. Thank you for sharing that, Bertal. If I told y'all how much money I put into my spiritual education, y'all would probably scoff. And at the time, in the beginning of my spiritual education, I'm gonna be real, my black ass technically could not afford it. I have more than earned back every dime that I have spent on my spiritual development, whether it was in cold hard cash or whether it was in an opportunity, whether it was in a reconciled relationship with my family, whether it was me being able to show up in the world without the wounds and traumas that used to pull me back, and now having a much better love life and much better friendships and much better everything. I have more than earned what I've poured into my spiritual education. I want you guys to understand that, because the internet is god awful place. And what I've seen a lot from Facebook and these other places is that you guys have, not you guys, everybody who's watching this has sense, but there are a lot of people that will try to siphon free resources. And here's the thing, you will only get so far with free. You will only get so far with free. Okay? So it's $35. I'm sure that y'all spend more than that on a taco plate and a margarita. So, and I believe that your spiritual healing is worth a taco plate and a margarita. So consider going ahead and making the leap.
Yeah. And then too, the other thing that Spirit just gave to me is that obedience is better than sacrifice. There are people that Spirit has been telling you that you need to forgive. I will use myself as an example, and this is why I'm being obedient to what Spirit is telling me to do. I had a dream back to back about 3 people. And those 3 people, I know why I had those dreams, because these are the 3 people that I struggle to forgive, if I'm just being honest. And I'm still not there yet. And because of this, Spirit told me that I needed to be obedient to this process, because obedience is better than sacrifice. And even in just doing this and taking the courage to even text Mambo and say like, hey, I have this idea, what do you think, was very scary for me. But I just think about the blessings that I have had, and we haven't even started yet.
Yes, absolutely. I think this is going to be a great experience for everybody involved. And I think it's going to open up a lot, right? And again, I really want you guys to trust the process and really be open to what kind of, not only wisdom comes from working within community with this process, but safety and protection, right? I mentioned flying monkeys and enablers earlier. Part of the reason that some of you guys may be struggling with forgiveness is because you may be in community with people who are ill-equipped. Not bad people, not ill-intentioned, just ill-equipped. I have had experiences where people who claim to love me have begged me to reconcile with active abusers, right? Whether it was in a romantic setting, whether it was in a professional setting. And part of my work was understanding that those people did not mean wrong, right? But also figuring out how to forgive without the reconciliation, because sometimes reconciliation is not safe, right? We are not going to encourage you to go back to an abusive partner. We are not going to encourage you to stay in a professional setting that is stressing you to the point of physical sickness. We are not going to do any of those things to you. What we are going to do is equip you with the tools to be able to forgive those people while not having contact with those people, right? I think that was something very important and brilliant that Manze Grann pointed out. Forgiveness is about you not about them.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we assume that forgiveness means you have to reconnect with that person. Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not, especially if it's going to violate your mental and physical health, your spiritual health in any way. We would not encourage you to do that. But what we will do is equip you with tools so that you can forgive people who have not asked for forgiveness, who may be so messed up that they don't understand that they even need it, right? Because it's not about them. It's about you and making sure that you are aligned and healthy so that you can have the best life that you deserve and that you can have a good relationship with your ancestors and the spirits in your court, making sure that you leave positive impact on your bloodline and lineage instead of feeding into generational curses. Okay? Bratal said, I'm sorry, when is the deadline to submit payment? The deadline to submit payment is May 14th. We start May 15th. So if you want to participate, we request that you have your payment submitted the day before the program starts so that way we have enough time to put you into Discord, get you onboarded, get you ready for everything.
Yeah.
Okay?
And then to also keeping in mind that the very first day I mentioned is like intention setting. So that involves a blue candle and some herbs and setting your intentions. So if you could pay it before then, so you could have access to know what herbs that you need to have and get your materials and everything, that would be great, because I want to make sure that everybody can start, that we can all set the intention together and start on time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Grann PA, for that reminder. There are resources that you're going to need. And Grann PA, being the considerate priestess that she is, made sure that everything she's using in this ritual is accessible. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying this respectfully as a priestess who's been doing group ritual with people for about 3 years now. Bring your hard-headed ass in early.
Please.
Because I'm serious. Bring your hard-headed. If you know you want to do it, sign up now. Get that list now. Because it's always somebody who pays at 11:59 p.m. when they know the deadline is midnight. And then they're like, what do? I can't find a blue candle. Oh my God, they're not selling salt anywhere. Girl, do it early so that you have your list and you are prepared, right? Yes, this is community support and community healing, but we are all adults, right? And here's another, I'm gonna say something, it may not be popular. You may learn that you have done things to people by how you show up in this collective that have put you in a position where people are working through forgiving you, right? If you show up in space and you take too much, if you are not respectful of other people's time, if you are over domineering of people who are introverted or quiet and you think that somehow is strength or power, right? Pay attention to how you show up in the group, because it may reveal things to you about you. All of that is my nice way of saying pay early if you know you want to do it, because you are going to need supplies. And if you show up the first day and you don't have your supplies, that is not anybody's fault that you paid at 11:59 p.m. when you know the deadline is midnight, except for your own. Okay? I had to put that out there because I don't want you to deal with that frustration. That'd be the thing that burns my grits.
Yeah, for sure. And like she said, I mean, they're easily, I was very intentional, like Mambo said, in the herbs that I selected, not only because they're easily accessible. So most practitioners, you should have them. I have all of those. I just keep those on deck. So I have them already, but they're easily accessible that you can go and get. Oh, you can go find a blue candle at Dollar Tree. Just make sure you scratch the barcode, like they're easily accessible. So for that practicality, because when we think about spiritual practices and hoodoo, like they're your everyday things that you can find easily. But then also too, I was very intentional with the herbs that I selected for the healing energy and forgiveness that for the intentions that we're going to set. So please make sure that you are being intentional about this entire process. And one thing I always tell my clients, you get in what you put out. You get out what I meant, I think I said it the right way.
No, we got you.
I was like, wait, did I say that the right way? But I say that, I tell my clients this all the time. If you don't put in anything, you're not going to get out anything. That's not anybody else's responsibility. That's not my responsibility. I will not carry that for you. So it is your responsibility. So if you come in and you're not prepared, then you're going to likely show up that way over the next 30 days. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to work harder than you at your recovery.
Whew. Be low. Sorry. My mom came through on that one.
She did. It is so true.
But yes, I am very excited about this. I think this is going to be a great experience. I think we're ending on a really important note, which is that you are going to get out of this experience what you put into it. This is meant to be interactive. It is meant to get you thinking and moving and letting the transformation happen internally for you, right? This is not 30 days of lecture. This is not you tuning into something and just, mindly writing down and regurgitating things that you hear. No, this is about you really, we're giving you some strong concepts and concepts that work, but you have to work them in order to see results. But I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. I'm very much looking forward to embarking on this journey with all of y'all. Grann PA, is there anything you want to say before we wrap up tonight?
No, I think that's it. Thank you to everybody who tuned in and joined us, and hopefully we will see you all in the Discord.
Awesome. So the link is in the description below. I've also put the link in the chat. It's also scrolling below here. So hopefully there's no confusion about how to sign up or how to find us. I've also put my business phone number in the live chat so that if anybody has already paid and needs to follow up, you guys can text me and we can close the communication circle. Because I'm vain, I'm going to put this last comment from Bertal.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I've been drinking water and minding my business and only putting on makeup when I got to come on here and talk to y'all. And the combination of those things all year long has really done amazing things for my skin. So if people have been asking me what the regimen is, I promise you to God, minding my business, drinking water, coconut oil at night. That's it.
Simple, easy.
All right, everyone. Thank you so very much. I will see y'all Sunday. Me and Manze Grann PA will see the rest of you guys on Thursday of next week at the start of the program. You all have all the information. You know where to find us if you need us. And until next time, take care.
Good night.
Bye, everyone.